Good morning.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
My name is Willie,
I'm John.
and we are Shooting the Shift. And if you guys are wondering where Brian is, so am I. He supposedly he's in New York.
Oh, well, I'm John. I'm a general manager for a Volvo dealership. I'll be filling in today.
You don't even know what dealership you work for?
It's a Volkswagen Volvo dealer.
Today we're bringing you a two-part series, or the beginning of a two-part series, in which we are going to try and better inform you guys.
You're gonna give him my tricks?
Well, not the bedroom ones.
Oh,
just the car buying ones. So,
damn it!
So we're gonna try and better inform you guys as to the ins and outs of buying a car, so it's not such a foreign experience and you're not freaked out about it, and you can go in kind of like if you worked at the dealership, you can kind of go in there, with a sharp knife when you're gonna go get your car.
No, please no.
So that's the intention. Yeah, John, let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
What should people know about the car buying experience?
That it's lots of fun.
From the buyer's end, not from the seller's end.
People hate it. They dread it the most. They always feel like they're not getting a good enough deal. They're not. They always feel like nothing's ever good enough. No one wants to go from dealership to dealership to dealership because they always feel like we play games. It's basically not fun, but we can make it fun. Some people actually think it is fun. A lot of dealerships now are trying to make it a little more transparent.
Yeah.
So it's easier. It's like, when you go buy a computer, when you go buy, a washing machine, it's
It's
easy.
quick.
It's quick.
Which has always been my problem with the car buying experience is that ever since I was a kid, it seems like it always takes an entire day.
Yes.
What is up with that?
Well, because usually if you think about it from start to finish, now if it's let's say it's a Saturday, you come in, you're not really sure what you want, so you walk around the lot, you pick out a car, you drive it. That's probably about a good hour right there between picking out the car, driving the car, going over the car. Then we go back inside and then we sit there and we negotiate the fun part, which everybody hates.
Yeah.
And then that can go on for another 3 hours. Not 3 hours, for 30 minutes to an hour. And then once we finally agree and say, okay, we have a deal, then we go into the other stuff like, credit, and from then on. And then we send the car to detail. And then by the time, do all the paperwork, basically the law contracts and power of attorneys and everything.
Yeah. Whoever figures out how to shorten that process will make a lot of money. And I think some people are doing that already. Like there's some is it Carvana, where basically you for the most part, I think you do a lot of it online and then they just deliver the car to your house.
Well, yes, but they're only a used car dealership.
Gotcha.
So yes, a lot of people are doing that right now with the internet. Now, if you know exactly what you want, then it's perfect. You can send an internet inquiry to a dealership. They have the car. You negotiate the price. Usually, like with my internet guys, I'll try to
That's what I do.
I'll try to get a credit application over the phone or online, encrypted nowadays. Copy the driver's license, so that way when the customer does come, we'll have the car ready, cleaned up. They come here, they look at it, they make sure it is everything they wanted. The numbers are already pre-approved and solidified, and then we just go right to finance, do the paperwork.
All right, so let's get into, I guess, the beginning stages of buying a car, which would be, at least for me, is one of the most important things is vehicle research, all right? So you know what car you want, and you think you're ready to buy it. So, the vehicle research portion would be, either from going online, looking at websites like TrueCar. That's one of the ones that I use, that I recommend the most, because you can actually put in the car, if you have the car and the options, which the dealership will have most of the options on their website. You can plug that into TrueCar and it will give you a very good sense of what the invoice price on that car is. So basically what the dealership paid for it. There's that portion of it. So you kind of have an idea of if you go on TrueCar and you see that the invoice price is $30,000 and you see it advertised, that you see the MSRP is 38, that they have $8,000 to work with on that car. So And then what I like about that site as well is it'll actually tell you what people are paying for that car in your area as well. So it'll give you you'll know that if the average person is paying on that particular deal, they're paying 34 grand, you know that you're not going to get the car at invoice because most people are paying 34. So you already know that. Don't even try to get an invoice price, or you can try, but it's going to be difficult. But a good deal would be that average price.
It basically gives you a bell curve.
Correct. Yeah.
And it tells you this is a good price, this is a great price, and then it tells you like if people in the area have bought, how many people, 3 people have gotten this price. Because what they do is they basically, I guess, they scrub everybody's DMS, should I say, their system, to see what people are paying.
Yeah. Well, there's also True Car dealerships that are partnered up with them. And so they know what the cars are. They have to basically tell True Car what they're going to sell it for. So the buyer already knows this is the price and it's done.
It's a great website. It's a great, should I say,
it's a tool.
Yeah. To negotiate. It gives you a valid idea of what the car is worth. Now, when people come in and say, "Well, I want $5,000 better than the True Car price," then we're like, "Hey, well, there's the door."
Yeah. I mean, you also got to be realistic. I mean, some people go in there with unrealistic expectations of they're going to get, a $5,000 better than the next guy. I mean, and that's what I like about that site is that, like, what people are paying. So unless in your area, so you're not going to, I mean, kind of what the deal is going to be. So that gives you a baseline as to what the value of the car should be. Then you should go test drive it, because some people, they like a car, then they go test drive it. Maybe it's not great, so go test drive it. You can go test drive a car and not have to buy one. I mean, you just go there, just test drive the car and you can leave.
Of course, 100%. In our line of work, well, at least what I do, that's my number one pet peeve, is that everybody test drive the car. Because nothing would irritate me more than sitting there negotiating over an hour for a car, and you're beating me up, and I finally agree to give you the price, and you never drove the car, and you don't like the car.
Yeah.
At that point, we just wasted everybody's time.
Yeah.
I always say to people buy cars for 3 reasons. I say, you like me, right? Because I'm the sales guy. I'm not. I usually say you like the salesperson.
I mean, I would buy the car just based on your hair.
Yeah. So. And I say you like the price. I mean, you like the car, right? Oh, you like the price? Okay, so then perfect. When all those 3 things align, that's usually when someone's buying a car. Because you're not going to buy a car from someone you don't like.
True.
You're going to buy a car when you like the price. And you're going to like the car if you like the car. But if you don't like the car, then we have nothing to really talk about.
True. And then there's also, new versus used, which is another, big thing. And that's going to be very subjective. It's going to depend on the person. It also depends on the make. Some cars depreciate a lot worse than others. Some cars it really makes sense to buy a used one with 500 miles on it or 1,000 miles on it, which is basically a new car. Like Mercedes, for instance, depreciate like crazy. You can buy a $130,000 truck, and in less than a year, it's worth 90 grand.
Of course.
So it all depends on the car maker. BMW, for instance, they hold their value really well. So the lease programs are super competitive because, they hold their value well, as opposed to Mercedes lease programs, which are horrible because the cars depreciate a lot. So yeah, new versus used is going to really depend on the person. It's going to depend on what you want. Some people really love to have, a brand new car. And I think you're still going to have a new car smell with a 1,000-mile car, but maybe not. Yeah, and it depends on the make. So that's really we're gonna leave that up to you, because that's really just preferential. And it just depends on what you want. So some cars, like we said, are gonna hold their value better than others. So once you're ready to buy, order or dealer inventory.
It basically depends. I would say more in your highline cars, like your Porsches and stuff like that. Most people like to order a car because of those, especially BMW. Everything's a la carte.
True.
Whereas when you get into your lower end, let's say your Hondas and your Toyotas there's no point really ordering a car.
Yeah, there's not a lot of options. So I mean, some of those cars have, the option page is like, it's like 3 things.
Well, even if, let's say, an E-Class Mercedes, for example, Same thing. There's no need to really order the car because things aren't a la carte. You get the premium 1 package, premium 2 package, the vision pack, or whatever. Maybe you wanted that matte white that's not available, then that's a different story. But
Sure.
for things like that, now when you come to like sports cars, we were just talking about front axle lift. That's a big option. Some people would love to have that.
Yep. Yeah, it's in some. Yeah, there's certain options that are a must. Like on sports cars, sometimes they're really low. So, anywhere where there's bumps or weird dips, you're gonna have to lift the front of the car. I guess my question was more like, do you get a better deal on an ordered car or on one that's sitting on the lot? Because I know that most dealerships have to sell a certain amount of cars to get a certain amount of cars from the manufacturer, right?
So yeah, we pay floor plan on cars. I'd much rather. Well, it depends. So I look at it from both aspects. I know other guys that run other dealers. If you order a car, they basically tell you there's no negotiation.
Yeah,
because you're ordering a car.
Yeah, that makes.
They basically say the price is the price.
Sure,
and that's it. I'm willing to work with people because I look at it like this: you're coming in, you're going to order a car. The car is going to come in 3 months. It's going to be in and out.
Yeah, it's not going to sit around for too long.
Why would I hold a gun to someone's head?
Sure.
To this way here, it's a car deal. Yeah. I may not make all the money. I make some money and move on. It's a quick deal because you already agreed. And then 3 months from now, by that time you've already forgot about it. Then the car shows up and you're like, oh man, sweet, I got another car deal.
Well, and chances are that even if the deal doesn't go through and it's not like some weird, purple or some color like that, you'll sell the car anyways. So I mean, it may sit around a little longer, but to me, I've gotten deals on cars I ordered. I've gotten discounts on them. And then I've had some where, they're just notoriously was not a discount because it was a limited production car or whatever the case may be. So on that aspect, you heard it from the man. Doesn't really matter when it comes to that. But I think there's a little bit more of an edge on the dealer on the actual inventory.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like if you came into my store right now and you wanted to order a car, but I had a car in stock that was almost what you wanted.
Sure.
Maybe it was missing the heated steering wheel.
Yes. Very important in Florida.
Very important. I would probably try to make you a better deal on the car that I have in stock because depending on how many days I have in stock, I've been paying interest on that car at this point.
Yeah.
Anything over 90 days, then I start to pay interest. I start to pay floor plan. So
Gotcha.
I'd want to rather move that car and get a car sale now.
That's interesting. So you pay interest on the on the floor plan, you pay interest on the value or on the invoice of the car, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. All right, that makes sense. So your thing is you want to move cars.
I want to turn and burn.
Yeah, which might be another. I've never really. Well, I used it to my advantage one time. I didn't know. Is it 90 days standard for most dealerships?
90 days
for the most part. Mm-hmm. So I bought an Audi once that I had seen a diesel, a Q7 that I had seen on a particular dealership's website. Had been there for a while. So I had been looking at it, and I was like, man, this thing's been here for like 3, 4 months, 5 months. It was a loaded Q7 diesel, which nobody buys diesels down here. And I went in there and I got a really good deal. And it's because they needed to get rid of that thing.
Of course.
And I told the guy, I was like, look, I know this car's been sitting here for a while. Like, you guys need to sell this car.
And especially if you haven't had anybody on the car and it's been sitting for a few months.
Correct.
If I know I haven't had anybody come in looking at a car for 6 months and I have one guy come in, I'm going to latch onto that guy and I'm going to try to figure out how to put a deal together.
Yeah.
Because I don't want the thing to so-called have a birthday.
Yeah. And I've also going back to the car buying, using the internet to buy cars, which I've done a lot. I've actually what I typically do is and you can go nationwide. Don't limit yourself to just looking at cars online in the area. You can go and test drive a car in the area, and that's fine. You love it, and then you can blast 15, 20 different dealerships around the U.S. because any dealership can ship you the car. So that's not a problem. They'll ship the car over and give you a good deal. Just try and find the best deal, and you can pin dealerships against each other, which is what I've done in the past.
You're that guy.
Hey, but I mean, it is what, hey, this guy's giving me 4% off. Here's the email from that guy. Boom. And I'll send it to him. And then he's like, all right, I'll give you 5% off. And then I'm like, hey, this guy's giving me 5% now. Can you match it?
Well, if you're going to blast everybody, I would suggest, you don't probably put your cell phone.
No, I don't put, I just email.
So my mom, she called me yesterday, and she's been wanting to get out of her 4 Series Grand Coupe, and she has like a little less than a year left in the lease. So I was like, hey, do yourself a favor, just bring it by CarMax, just to see what they put in the car, so I can see more or less, if we're on point with the payoff. So she goes online and fills out some Auto Trader thing. And she calls me yesterday morning. She's like, I have 15 different dealerships calling me.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's horrible. Yeah, no. That is no good. So another big question or car sales myth is that there's a certain time of the month that's a better time to buy a car than another. Can you please put this to rest already?
Yes and no. Okay. So I treat every day like it's the last day of the month. If I have a customer in the showroom, I'm going to make sure that we put the deal together because I may never see them again. Now, there is that once, like the whole stars would have to align, whereas it'd have to be the last day of the month at like 10 o'clock at night, and there has to be probably a lot of money on the line.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking like $50,000 to $100,000.
Yeah.
For the dealership. And if they're one car short and you happen to be that guy and you're like, oh no, I don't want the car. Oh yeah. And then, so that's the only time that when you say you can get like the deal that no one could ever get.
But that's a very specific like criteria.
You would have to be like, so prime example, I gave some guy a deal in December, which was it was technically January 2nd because it was you can't close the month on a weekend, a holiday.
Gotcha.
So we close every December. We close out in like the 2nd or 3rd day of January.
Gotcha.
So I gave this guy a stupid deal. The guy posted online because that was car number like to get us to our bonus. So I gave him like the dumbest deal.
Yeah.
I had him on like I texted him at 7 p.m. that night, and I was like, that's when I started working the deal.
Yeah.
He came down. I sold him the car. He didn't even pick up the car because I didn't even have the car in stock. I had dealer traded from another car from another dealership. I contracted him on it, and then I had it delivered to him 3 days later.
Wow.
But that was the kind of one of those.
Yeah, where you needed that car to make the number.
And he put it online, and ever since then I've had so many people contact me trying to get that deal. I'm like, guys, listen, that was the end of the year.
Yeah.
End of the month, like last day, like
you're gonna have to wait until January 2nd next year.
No, that would be like that was the only time in should I say in my 10-year career that I've ever done something like that. I mean, normally, we've either already hit it or that, but on the most part, I will take an ugly deal on day 1 that I'll take on day 31.
Yeah, I think if you use the tools at your disposal, I think nowadays it's very difficult. Not that it's difficult, but it's a lot hard. And you can tell me, I guess car buyers are a little bit more prepared now because of the internet and everything. Like they have a little bit more information than back in the day.
Everybody shops on the internet now. At least I think the statistic is almost 90% of people go online before they even step foot in a dealership.
Yeah.
Now, rewind 10 years ago.
Yeah,
people would go from dealership to dealership to dealership because we didn't have the internet like that.
Yeah.
Now your average person goes into 1.3 dealerships.
Yeah.
So they may go into 2, they may not. Yeah. But like you said, you'll just send out an email and then you can already pretty much have an idea.
Yeah. Or
like you mentioned used cars earlier. Back in the day, you used to just stroll onto a used car lot, or you picked up an Auto Trader. The magazine.
Yeah. At Publix.
Yeah.
Or
you flip through it.
That's our supermarket down here. But yeah, it's an Auto Trader, Boat Trader, all the do they still make the magazine?
I
haven't seen one in a while.
But now or you would just stroll onto a used car lot trying to find, or a dealership trying to find the car you're looking for. Now, if you're looking for a specific used car, you're going to go online and you're going to search, like you said, the whole entire nation.
Yeah.
And you're going to see, maybe there's one in California. Yeah. Maybe there's one over here. Maybe there's one over there.
And they'll ship it, man. I'm telling you, it's that's the greatest tool you have is now. Before you had to go to your local, what's always called a dealership row, right? There's always one. There's one in every city where it's like 30 dealerships down one street. Yeah, exactly.
And people used to do the go to one, go to one, go to one, go to one.
Yeah.
And then on a Saturday at like 7 o'clock, that one guy strolls in and I'm going, oh man, really? And he's already been at 7 places and he either wants to do business or he doesn't. He's wore out by that time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and they'll drag their kids along, which I was one of those growing up. My dad like was notorious for, he was that guy that for like some nicer carpet mats, like he would be like, all right, well, you got to give me something. No, you got to give me, and he would leave with all this free stuff, like they just wanted to get him out of the dealership, so they would give him anything, like hats,
stop, like
shirt, whatever, hey, whatever you want, sir. Like
window tint,
just get out of here.
Just stop.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, my dad was that guy.
Enough is enough.
And I was passed out somewhere on a couch, like in the showroom. So.
And you're like, enough. I'm the way I was like, enough is enough. Stop asking for more. I've already given you everything.
Yeah. My dad has the same sickness that I have, where he was constantly getting new cars. So it was like, I mean, I'm my kids won't go through this because I'm a lot better at it than he is, or he was, and it got to a point where I would just like. I would pretend I was sick or something just so I wouldn't have to go. Cause I'm like, cause I knew it was the entire day. So sometimes it was 2 days. Cause sometimes he would like,
you got to go back
close the delership down. And then he had to go the next day to get all his free stuff that wasn't, because the parts department was closed or whatever, you know what I mean? So yeah, that was a good time.
Mud guards, all weather floor mats, door edge guards.
Yeah. No, I mean the little
the sunroof.
What's the stuff that people used to use on the windows that was like the rain, the protect, you could crack it down, but it would
the guard.
What was that called? Like it was basically so like if it was raining, you could still crack the window, but it had like the little.
And then they had the one for the sunroof too.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, like what is that called? A window gutter or something?
I forgot about those things.
Yeah. Nobody used that anymore. So another part. We discussed the best time of the month to buy. So we already know, that's really going to be. That's going to depend dealership to dealership, and really it's going to depend a lot on very specifics. Like, have they met their numbers? Have they not? Like, if they've met their numbers, they don't care. You could come the last day and they're done.
Like, for example, if it's a Tuesday at 5 o'clock and I still haven't sold a car.
Yeah.
And someone walks in and they offer me something stupid sometimes, I may consider it.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather sell a car. When it comes to reporting my numbers at the end of the night to my owner, I'd rather sell a car than.
Yeah, for sure.
So guaranteed. Sometimes if I have to lose $3,000 to sell a car that day, I may just say, screw it and do it.
But that's all luck. I mean, no one's going to have that particular information. No one's going to know that. Like a prospective buyer is not going to know any of that.
But at the end of the day, what are you talking? You're maybe talking you save yourself an extra $1,000, maybe $1,500.
Yeah.
Normally, then we wouldn't do, because again, it goes back to like you said with TrueCar.
Yeah,
that is a good deal, and people still want better. I've had people have lost $5,000 to sell them a car, and they still don't think it's a good deal. They still think they got screwed.
Do you guys do dealerships, like you were talking about, like an end of the year bonus? Do the manufacturers do quarterly bonuses, or is it just on a yearly basis?
It depends on the manufacturer.
Yeah.
I think Mercedes does quarterly. I know when I worked with Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, they did what they call a monthly volume growth bonus. So if you hit a certain X number of cars, you got an extra $750 back.
Sure.
Or something like that. So if you're selling 200 cars and it's $750 a car, like I was saying, it could be $150,000 on the line.
Sure.
And if you're there that day, now they're not going to lose $30,000 to make up 150, but they may lose $5.
So I guess if you really, really, really want to try and save as much as possible and get the best deal, I guess you really the end of the year, last month, end of the year, because technically, right, if it's a quarterly bonus manufacturer, that's the end of the fourth quarter. Correct. And if it's a monthly, that's the end of the last month, and if it's a yearly, it's the end of the year. So that's probably going to be your safest bet if you really want to wait.
Our best quarter is the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
November and December are our best months in the car business for whatever reason.
It was Black Friday. Do you guys sell a lot of cars on Black Friday?
Actually, we do.
Yeah?
When I worked with AutoNation, we were giving TVs away.
Nice.
Like if you came in and
all right, that's not bad.
If you came in and bought a car on Black Friday, we gave you a TV.
All right.
Like a LCD back then.
Oh, I mean, hey, dude,
something for free.
Something for free.
Your dad would have loved that.
Oh, dude, he would have
hit
hit you for 2 TVs for sure. He would have hit you for 2. That's a guaranteed.
You'd have been like, no, I'm not taking just one.
Oh yeah, I'll take.
You got to give me 2.
Yeah, for sure. No, like that's not even a question.
And then you would be in the background going, Dad, what are we gonna do with these TVs?
What? Like who?
What do we need these TVs for?
Like we have plenty of TVs at the house. He doesn't care. It's just free.
But then he'd be like, we're just gonna gift them to somebody.
Yeah. So okay, so trading in a car, another big myth. People are always like, oh, I'm ready to buy the car. I have a car to trade. Should I wash it before I go to the dealership? What should I do? Like, because I want to get the best trade value possible. So if I clean it, then it's going to look a lot nicer than if it was dirty.
No.
Okay. So basically somebody who washes their car before they go trade it in, they're just throwing away $20, $30.
Yeah. It's funny. But you know what the good thing about when people coming in to trade a car is they bring a car in on empty. When I used to get into
I'm even worse. I leave it. I bring it in empty and with the thing that says fill with 1 quart of oil. So I make you guys even fill it up with oil.
When someone comes in to trade a car, and when I used to appraise them, and the car was on empty, I used to be like, this car is buying a car today, because because no one just drives into a dealership on empty on purpose.
Yeah. And another sign is if there's no personal items in the car.
Yes.
Then you know for sure that this person's motivated, right?
Oh, motivated all day.
So,
and if they have the CarMax appraisal in there, that means they've already done their research.
But that's a good thing though. That's somebody that's already at least knows what CarMax will pay for it. So I mean, most dealerships will match what CarMax is offering.
Yeah, CarMax does a good job of putting good money in cars.
Yeah.
People think that they screw them. No, they really don't.
It's all based on auction prices for the most part.
But the one thing about CarMax that's nice is they're all over the country.
Yeah.
So, if you have a car here that's a used car you're trading in, it may do a lot better in Memphis, Alabama, or Tennessee, whatever. You know, it may pull a lot more money, so they may be able to put more money in the car here.
Yeah.
And then ship it there because they can make more money there. Because, again, remember, since we're in South Florida, people change cars like they change underwear.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They're leasing. Like the more north you go,
the more they finance.
And the less they lease. For sure. I used to talk to this girl that lived in Arkansas. She was a finance manager. She didn't even know how to run a lease.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's a finance manager in a car dealership that sells 200 cars, and she's never run a lease before in her life.
Yeah, no, definitely leases. I think leases are more popular in metropolitan areas for sure, in big cities.
Like right now, my business is probably about 80% leasing.
Yeah, that makes sense. And some, I mean, like we said before, sometimes it makes sense, and it depends on the car as well. It depends on. Do you own a small business? It really depends on a lot of things. Sometimes leases make a lot more sense than buying. For instance, if you own a small business, you can write off the entire lease of the car, the entire payment, as opposed to if you buy it, you can only write off the mileage. So if you don't drive a car a lot and you financed it, then you can only write off the miles per year, which is what is it? Is it $1.50? Something like that, right? So, but the lease, no matter how much you drive it, you can write off the entire thing. So it really depends on your financial situation and, your tax situation as well, which sometimes leasing is way more attractive because of that.
So let me ask you a question. Because someone that changes cars and likes cars a lot.
Yeah.
My manufacturer, the one I work for now, is coming out with a subscription.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on subscription-based cars?
We actually had an episode where we discussed that because that's a very new thing. BMW's coming out with it, Porsche's coming out with it, Cadillac is coming out with it. I think it's super nice. I mean, the most attractive thing to me is the fact that insurance and everything is included. Yes. Because insurance in Miami is expensive, and I would imagine that a manufacturer is going to get a way better deal on insurance than me and you are going to get. So that's how they're able to keep, even though you're a Miami subscription person, the insurance, the total price is going to remain the same because they probably got some kind of nationwide insurance where they can drive the price down.
Well, that's the thing we're overcoming right now. So we have a car that's a subscription base. I have like 6 of them at port. They're waiting. These customers have ordered their car 3 months ago. It's called Care by Volvo.
Yeah.
It's on the XC40 that just came out a month ago.
That's a horrible name, by the way.
I know. Listen, it's $600 a month.
Yeah.
For the momentum, and it's $700 a month for the R design, and that's includes your insurance.
That's to me that's
it's a 2-year subscription. I think you can use up to 15,000 miles. It includes wear and tear
all day,
and then after a year you can change out
all day. There is no car that I can think of. I mean, very few where insurance maintenance insurance, car payment that you'll be at $600.
Do you think this is the future?
I think it is the future. Because I think the generation, at least like the new generation, not us, but the real millennials, they don't want to own a car. They just want to like have it. You know,
they don't want to be committed to anything.
They don't want to be committed to anything. That's what it is. So I think for that generation, it's gonna crush.
They don't even like to work.
Yeah, that's true. They just want to be YouTube stars. So, yeah, but I mean, I think that is the future. Really, it really is, and a lot of people are doing it. I think it's gonna be very successful. And some of them actually let you switch out even faster. I think Porsche is allowing you to do it every month.
But Porsche's, I think it's expensive.
Yeah, but
it was like, I think it's over $3,000 a month.
It depends on which one you get. Some allow you access to more cars. Some allow you access, but you have access to the whole fleet.
Yeah,
which is different. Like if you know you have a trip next month, like the Cadillac one. If you know you have a trip next month
Escalade.
And you need an SUV, you get an Escalade, right? So you have an Escalade for the month. So that's the cool thing about that is that you can switch in and out faster than a year.
But does it include the V's?
Huh? No V's. No V's. And with Porsche, there's no GT cars, no turbos. I think the highest it goes is maybe like a GTS or something like that.
Oh, damn. That sucks.
So going back to the trading the car in, know the value of the car. Don't wash it.
Actually, if you keep it dirty, it probably might hide some more imperfections.
Yes, you'll hide some scratches and stuff, and maybe some dents, stuff like that. But I mean, know the value. Use the tools at your disposal. Use KBB. Kelly Blue Book is an old faithful. Also, CarMax. CarMax. You know, they're going to give you they're going to give you the real value of that trade. So once you go into that dealership to buy that car you want to get, you're going to know, hey, I called my bank. I owe $45,000. CarMax is giving me $35,000. You know you're upside down $10,000, right?
Ouch.
Which leads us in to our next, the most painful part of buying a car, which is the finance desk, which is you're sitting with your sales guy. You don't know what they're doing, right? They're doing all this. He's coming back. He's going back.
He's drinking coffee.
Yeah, he comes back. He brings something else. He goes back.
He basically just comes to my office and just asks me how the weather is.
Correct. Yeah.
He's like,
no, I need this much off. All right, I got to go back. He's got to go talk to the finance guy, right? And this is where we get into this is the nitty gritty. This is where where you can get a great deal or a horrible one. So
yeah. The finance aspect of it. Well, so like I mentioned earlier, we're sitting there and we finally agree on a number. Then it comes down to what we call credit.
Yes, very important. That when I was 19, I didn't care about. So,
and people nowadays don't understand, or they do.
Yeah,
having excellent credit gives you lots of power.
Yes.
So, if you have mediocre credit and you're trying to buy that car, and let's say you're trying to finance it, you're going to qualify for a much higher interest rate than if you have excellent credit.
Sure.
And that's like it. Now, again, it's not about getting screwed, but it's because maybe you're not as much of an asset to the bank.
Yes. And there's also, and I'll say this from experience, most finance and lease interest rates on leases, they're called money factors. On finance deals, you'll see they call it an APR. They're the same thing. They just make it seem like it's something different, but it's the same thing.
It's a rent charge.
And they're all negotiable. I don't care. I don't care what finance company I've been involved with. I've been able to negotiate the interest on almost every deal.
Interest, yes. Money factors, no.
Well, it depends. BMW, absolutely, because Porsche, absolutely, because they have for instance, Porsche Financial gives them a base.
Well, everyone has a base money factor.
Correct.
That's not negotiable.
Correct.
Now, yes, we do sometimes mark that money factor up.
Yes. No, not sometimes. Always. Everyone, and it's not just a John thing. They all mark it up. That's part of where dealerships make money as well.
It's profit. It's not a bad word.
And you need to understand, and I own a business, and I understand that businesses need to make money, and this is a way that they make money as well. It's not as much as you think. But it is a part of the pie where they make money, but it is negotiable. So that's another way that you could pit dealerships together. Once you go online and you got 3 or 4 dealerships fighting for your business, and you got a agreed on price of the car, then you say, okay, well, what interest are you going to give me on the car? Here's my credit. I have an 800 Beacon. I know that I'm top tier. What can you do for me?
Well, also, we have other people that go outside. To their own financing.
Credit unions are a great way to get good. Usually they have very low interest rates. I've used it a few times where I've gotten 1.5, 2% interest, over 60 months, which is crazy.
Down here, Space Coast is big.
Yeah, Space Coast is really good.
And they'll give you low rates, and also they'll give you no payments for 90 days if you want at that point.
And they'll actually, Space Coast, I guess we're plugging Space Coast now, but Space Coast will give you they'll pre-approve you and say, all right, we're pre-approving you for 50 grand. And they give you it's like a green, some kind of voucher card. Mm-hmm. And then you just go to the dealership and you're like, hey, look, I'm already pre-approved. And it gives you a little bit of buying power. Sometimes the dealership will say, hey, you know what? They're giving you 2.9% interest. I'm going to match that.
Yeah,
and which is what Porsche has done with me in the past. Is they're like, listen, we'll match it. They want to keep it
in-house.
I'm sure Porsche Financial gives them something, so they make a little bit more money on the back end.
We'd probably make a flat, like a flat $500 or a flat, depending on how much money is being financed.
Sure.
So if we match the interest rate at 2.9, and the flat could be anywhere maybe $500 to $1,500. But, that's not chump change. Right now, people think we make thousands and thousands of dollars on a car.
Yeah.
Really, we probably make on average anywhere between $2,000 to $3,000.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I mean, more and more now because of the amount of information that's out there, the margins get smaller because people know what the invoice price is. That used to be something that no one knew unless you were in that business, right?
You used to ask to see it and you couldn't get it.
Yeah, but that's something that's readily available now. The other thing that I know is, I mean, this is the real moneymaker right here is, you got the interest rate, you got your term, right? 60 months, 72, or if it's a lease, 3 years, 2 years, whatever it is. Here come the tire and wheel packages and the super duper paint protection, whatever plan.
Xylon.
If a meteor hits your car, don't worry, just bring it in, we'll fix it. No deductible, no this. Then they're like, well, what if your key breaks? The key's $500, and it's like
key replacement.
Yeah, key replacement, right? So I mean, here's the way I've looked at this, right? I'm a person that takes really good care of my cars. I don't need any of that crap. Right, because I know one, the car's only going to be around for maybe 2 years,
and then you're done.
Two, I take I don't scratch wheels for the most part. I don't I don't my paint doesn't get messed up. I wash the cars all the time. So for me it makes no sense, right? But for somebody that is notorious for scratching wheels, for somebody who doesn't take care of their car. Scratches the leather up, So, I mean, for those people, I think it may be a really good deal.
It is. The road hazard package, what you're talking about, if you're someone that hits potholes and curbs wheels, that's and depending on the car. Now, when you're talking high-end cars, that can be a lot of money. If you're talking like a Honda, a Volkswagen, it's $500. And if, I know girls are not, the most perfect people when it comes to that.
Yeah. I mean,
hitting curbs, hitting.
Yeah, it also depends on it depends on the profile. Some wheels have a lower profile tire, so they're more prone to curbing the wheel.
If you do lease a car, though, I do recommend what they call the wear and tear package, because that alleviates you from any damage, any scratches. You can return the car with bald tires, especially like when it comes to BMWs, which carry run flats, and they make you replace them with run flats.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
So if the wear and tear package is $900, a set of tires for the BMW is
it's $1,000 easy.
More than
all
$1,000,
day.
depending on what kind of wheels.
Yeah. But I mean, any run flats are gonna run $300-400 a piece each.
And that's talking what, $1,400-1,600 bucks.
All day.
You already made money, so you can turn the car in with bald tires
all day.
So sometimes those things are good.
I think the tire and wheel package is usually a good one. And it also depends on how much they're charging you for it too. You got to look at that as well, based on how much it costs for a tire.
Yeah,
they're gonna lie to you. They're gonna tell you that each tire costs $1,000, right?
Yeah.
But it, like, you can on your phone, you can go on Tire Rack and like see how much a tire is. If you really wanna. But just be careful with those, because. And that's gonna depend dealership to dealership as well.
The data dots, stuff like that. That's the theft protection.
Yes.
That basically all it is a warranty that if your car gets stolen, we will give you $5,000.